Hi, I'm Mary Giuliano, and today I'm joined by Dale Nicholson. Welcome.
Good
Dale.
morning, Mary.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You know, this program is about the life and times of Fernie and area, and you've lived here a long time. Were you born here?
No, we came here, Mary, in the end of 1968, and Dad opened up his jewelry store in 1969.
Because your dad was Jay, right?
Jim, and
Jim.
yeah, and there's the story about Jay's Jewelers. When we first came here, Dad and I came before the rest of the family, and Dad ran into John Audio, who was a very prominent Fernie resident, and I guess during a coffee session, Dad had told John that he was going to change the name. Prior to coming to Fernie, our jewelry store was named Nicholson's Credit Jewelers. Many years ago, a lot of jewelers financed the sale of their own rings, so they were called credit jewelers. And so that began the business of financing.
So your dad
your
had
own
this
rings.
business even before moving to
Oh
Fernie.
yeah. He learned his watchmaking trade in the Navy. He was in the Korean War, and he learned his trade in the Navy. My grandfather, before him, of course, was also a watchmaker and had jewelry businesses, and so it's been in the family many, many years. I think since
Yeah.
1929. I think, not 100% positive, but it's around that area. And he had told John that he wanted to change the name, and John had talked Dad into calling it Jay's because they were both buddies. John's name was John, Dad being Jim, and so they'd call each other. They'd say, "Hey Jay," and they'd go for their coffee or whatever. And
So that's where it came
it became
from.
Jay's Limited, yes, and was Jay's Incorporated. Now it's back to Jay's Limited, and now it's a proprietorship, and now I have it. And
Where were you guys living before you came to Fernie?
in another mining community in Saskatchewan, Esterhazy, Saskatchewan.
Oh, yeah.
They had the potash mines, and that year that we moved out here, there was about 20 families from that same town in Saskatchewan that came to
Came
work
here?
in the mines here. Yeah,
Because that's when Kaiser had come in.
they were just starting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe they were in full production in 1970.
Yeah, but they started in the late 60s.
Oh, they were, yeah. They
Yeah.
took a few years to build a mine
Yeah.
and to get everything up into production.
Yeah, because they brought in all kinds of people from, Great Britain.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of people
and
from
America,
Ontario,
yeah, and all over
England,
Canada,
yeah, putting the mine together, and
So you were just a young fella.
just still in grade school, and
Yeah.
doing all the kid things, and playing hockey and stuff, and started working part time in the store when I was 14.
Ah.
So it's been 50 years.
Yeah.
Where do they go? I don't know.
Oh, I know, and they go way too fast.
Yeah.
And that's what you're celebrating right now is 50 years
Yeah.
of business in Fernie.
Yeah.
But-
wonderful years.
Yeah, but you're closing the place down.
Yeah, we have some options. I just can't go home and watch TV. So,
No.
we have to do something, and whether it's a little bit of part-time or we just do custom jewelry work. I would really like to just sit at my bench and repair jewelry and make the odd piece, and I'd be happy with doing that.
You're so good at making
Yeah,
things.
thank you, and I have time to do that now. The business of, it's nice to have a business to, you can set your own hours and stuff, but you have to put in the effort to make it go, and then when you get to that point, then it's time to retire. And but no, it's been, like I said, 50 wonderful years of business in Fernie, and we've
It's really going to be missed.
yeah, I've heard that a few times. Like I said, I'd like to do my bench work somewhere, whether I do it out of my building or someplace else, but we're going to have a little holiday, and then we'll come back and make a decision. It seems like, every day the options and things change so much. Terry and I discuss one option, then we discuss another, and then somebody else comes by and offers to buy the building again. And it's
So it's decisions.
It's sometimes overwhelming.
You want to
it
think
really
about,
is.
yeah, you don't want to make any snap decisions,
Yeah,
that's
no.
for sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? 50 years is a long time,
Mhm.
and so a change is good.
Yeah, and you know, we like I said, we just can't do nothing, but we're going to do more things for us now. That might sound a little brash versus doing it for everybody else, but we've put in a good effort over the years, and you know, so we're at peace with that kind of a decision, and yeah, it's just
So,
looking forward to the uncertainty, but
hey, it's exciting. And the unknown is always exciting.
Yeah.
Scary, but
yeah,
exciting at
yeah,
the same time.
yeah.
What was your first impression of Fernie when you came here as a youngster?
Well, it's interesting you ask that, because when we driving in, like I said earlier, Dad and I came first. Well, we drive through Old Middletown, Natal, and Sparwood. And back then, along that strip were houses that have long since been torn down, but they were all white houses, but they weren't white. They were more black-gray, and the street was dusty and dirty, and we came from a real nice modern town in Saskatchewan, and Dad jokingly says to me, "This is where we're living," and he pointed to a house over there, and I thought, oh my goodness. And anyways, we drove 20 more miles down the road to Fernie. We pulled into Fernie. It was July, it was the middle of July, a beautiful summer day, and the streets were hopping. There was people all over, and the mountains, I just couldn't believe the mountains coming from the flats in Saskatchewan. The first morning I woke up, I thought, oh my goodness, they're going to fall on me, you know. And, but yeah, I've never gotten tired of the mountains. It's such a beautiful area, winter, summer, fall. It's just, my first impression was it was a very vibrant, busy, beautiful little picturesque town, and I thought I was in the middle of Switzerland somewhere, you know.
Yeah, it does have that kind of
yeah,
look.
and like I said, it was very vibrant. There was people all over the streets, and the mountains was just something totally new from the wheat fields in Saskatchewan, you know.
So how long did it take your dad to start up the business here?
He got going right away. We brought a big truck with us with all the showcases and all other jewelry supplies and stuff from his store, and we set that up. It took about 2 weeks, and the rest of the family came a few days later, and within about 2 or 3 weeks, they were Mom and Dad had the store set up. The first
in the same location?
No, the first store, Mary, was
would
be where East Kootenay Realty and Insurance is now. And many years ago, back then, it was Estelle's Hair Salon. You might remember
yes,
that.
Yes, I do.
Dad had the side beside her, the part beside her, and then he took over her side. He bought the building many years, or a few years later. Sometime after that, he had purchased the Board Stiff building. Used to be the Bank of Commerce. Years ago, he bought that building from Vi Wilson, who in turn worked for my father for many years.
I was just going to say, because I remember her in there.
Yeah, she worked for Dad for many years, and she was quite an unbelievable lady. My younger brother had some medical issues at the time with his heart, was back and forth from Vancouver and places with his heart problem, and Vi would look after the rest of our family, get us off to schools and everything, and in the summertime we could go out to the lake and stay at her cabin and you know, live summer like kids should live. And
she was a very stately,
yes, she was.
Woman.
Yes, there was that aura.
She had to be like almost 6 feet tall.
She was a very tall lady,
but very
red
elegant,
hair, yes,
and stately.
Handled herself quite elegantly, yes,
I
and
remember. She always had such class.
Yeah, but was so good to us
was
kids.
Friendly.
Yeah, we miss her.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because only her daughter is still.
Colleen and Freddie still live up in the Elk Valley.
Yeah. But her son passed away.
Yeah, Jimmy, we lost him a few years back. Yes, yeah. I do run into Colleen and Freddie once in a while. I see him once in a while, and so we exchange some greetings then. But she put in. I think Vi worked for Mom and Dad for about 15 years.
Yeah, 'cause I remember her there a long time. So why did your dad move from that location? 'Cause it was a good location.
Yeah, he had bought the building and decided that, you know, he'd stay in his building, and a little bit bigger. And back then, not so much now, but back then he carried a lot of giftware, wedding invitations and wedding booths and things. Dishes, cutlery, crystal, figurines. Yeah, it was quite a bit of giftware along with jewelry, so we needed the extra space. And but you know what? In 1974 to 78, in that store, Dad actually had 4 girls working part-time with him.
I remember.
Yeah,
it was more than.
But it was different back then. There were the 4 and 4 off hadn't come around at the mines. It was 5 and 2. So there was a lot of, you know, people weren't leaving town so much. Friday nights was busy. Stores were open till 9 Friday nights, and all the loggers and miners would get home and dress up and come downtown shopping, and it was almost a social event. So
yeah, it's true.
I remember working part-time in a menswear store, his menswear, where the ski base is now.
There was a
menswear store there called His Menswear, HIS Menswear. Harold Doucette opened it up, and I worked part-time for him for a couple of years when I was 14, 15, 16. And I worked Friday nights and Saturdays, and that's in the days of the wide flared 4-trail pants. And
I don't recall that for some reason.
Yeah,
was that next to
right next
Robinson's?
to Fernie? No, Robinson's was right beside Fernie Agencies. Jack Irvin had Fernie Agencies insurance office, and then his menswear was on that side, the ski base side. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And right across the street, up on top of the IGS, was the Fernie radio station. Rod Stafford Mayer had opened up the Fernie
you
radio.
remembered that?
Oh, yeah. It was such a big thing for Fernie. We had our radio station.
We had our own radio stations.
Yeah.
Gosh, nobody has remembered that.
I remember watching them packing stuff up the stairs and getting the radio station ready, and Howie got employed, a local person, and there was quite a buzz around Fernie those few years when the radio station started going.
And then the college started up there too.
Yeah, the Overweighty store, the old Overweighty store had purchased building a land uptown here and decided to.
But no, the first college was upstairs.
Oh there was a little bit of a East Kootenai Community College.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And Trightswoods, you say, the year we moved. Started up our store, Trightswood was closing out.
Oh. Okay.
And I remember walking into that building, the store, it was a huge building, of course. It was 90% empty. There was a couple racks of clothes, and I did buy myself a pair of pants. But I remember that big, beautiful wooden staircase in the middle. Wasn't that nice, the stately old building?
Where their offices were, and
there was the East Kootenai College was up there for a little bit of a part-time, temporary sort of tenor,
and you remember like there was like the ladies section, and then there was dry goods, and then there was groceries, and then there was another compartment because it was 4. I remember there was 4.
And they had toys too.
Oh yeah.
And back then, Mary, you could walk into a store and people would be smoking, and you'd fight through the cigarette smoke, and it was just the way it was back then. I remember walking into Trightswoods and those beautiful old wood, but the heavy smell of smoke, you kind of thought you were in a bar. But that's the way it was back then.
Yeah.
We of course have gone on to better things since then, but
and those are some of the changes, though. In Fernie.
Also, we had.
We need to take a break. Sorry, Patrick, I forgot to look and.
Where was the sorry, Mary?
We were talking about the changes in
all of that,
and the way life was different.
And then there was. What else? Enhanced Fernie Super Value came on board, so we had another big grocery store, and then we had another big furniture store open up where the McDonald's Consolidated building was. Remember
Right, across from the school.
Yeah, Parkcrest Furniture, I think.
Where there was buildings that used to be McDonald's Consolidated, and then there was Gellner. Mr. Gellner opened up a furniture store.
That's right.
And there was a restaurant in there.
Yeah, and then Willie Gellner moved it to tax downtown.
Yes,
to the
that's right. In the bottom of the Waldorf Hotel.
The Waldorf Astoria, yes. Years ago, going back again, we went into the basement. There was a big flood uptown. Something happened. There was a big flood. And the old rumors of little honeycombs and tunnels across the street from the butcher shop to the King Edward and stuff. Well, a lot of that is true, because when that flood was around, there were people that were busy building up their, shoring up their basements because these tunnels were caving in and stuff. And we'd always heard about those stories about the rum running days and the old allure of Fernie's.
I know, because
history.
There's the history of Picorello,
Yes.
which the pass has taken as their own, but in reality, Mr. Picorello came from Fernie.
Yeah,
his family was in Fernie.
Yeah, hanging around many years with Gino Guzzi and playing sports, Gino would tell stories about, because he was related to the lady, the first, what was her name? She was the first lady to be hung in Fernie.
Oh, Florence.
Florence.
I can't remember her last name, but Florence.
Picorello? No.
No. The man was Picorello.
Yeah.
She was Florence, and it'll come to me. But
Gino used to tell us those stories of all that, and quite interesting history, not only of mining and stuff in Fernie, but just things that went on years ago, and actually became a staple of Fernie, the way business went, and the CP rail, and it's there's so much good old history about the area. We kind of get caught up in just the industrial part of it, but there's a lot of other history that pertains to what Fernie has become over the years. Kind of guided our path.
And so you've heard some of the stories from people that are...
Lots of the old stories. The pig carcasses would arrive in on the CP rail, and they cut the pig carcasses open. They would be frozen. They take out the whiskey and transport it all over. And
Oh, wow.
Those kind of stories. And we read all those books, and
Well, you've met some interesting people working in your business over the years. Have you had people visiting here and coming to your business from far away places?
Oh yeah, we've had people from all over Europe. When I started making the custom-made jewelry, then I started to get to know more people, and I started sending my jewelry all over the place. And now we have a lot of tourists. They come in and they buy little gifts and things, or they get things made to take home from their holidays. And we've noticed a nice increase in tourist trade in the last 15 years or so. Where it took a while to get known, but once we got established as a Four Seasons resort, it put us on the worldwide scope. We're not just a winter resort, and a lot of the businesses I mentioned earlier on before we did our interview or got on our interview here, Mary. But a lot of the businesses are as busy, if not busier, in the summers now. So we've really diversified in Fernie.
I've certainly heard that.
Yeah, and it started, like I said, 15 or so years ago. With the sale of the ski hill and stuff, and part and parcel with that, and then the summer sports, the biking, the fishing, the golfing, and the hiking, and we've become Four Seasons in a full resort area.
The building that you own now, that you're in, was that Altalo's building?
Yes, it was.
She had on one side where you are, she had the travel agency?
Yes.
Or the insurance business?
The travel agency is where I was. The insurance business is where the travel agency is now. Yeah.
I remember that. She had red hair, and she was quite a feisty, friendly.
Yes. And Bob, very tall fellow.
Smart woman, very, very smart woman.
Yeah. I bought that building about 18 years ago. After I had my little set to in my old place. we got humbled there with that robbery, and bought this building, and have done well ever since. And yeah, so we're going to keep the building. We might sell it. We don't know.
Well, is there? You have a brother.
Yeah,
Are
I
there
have two
family?
brothers.
Oh, two brothers.
Yeah, my younger brother Jim is a principal in Northern Alberta, and,
okay.
and Gary's at home with me.
Right.
And my sister Bev, she lives in Edmonton, and her and Dawn were both educators, and they have retired recently the last few years, and yeah, so there's the four of us.
Oh, so there's four of you.
Yeah.
So, is the building belonging to the four of you?
No,
Because you keep saying we, so I wasn't
well,
sure.
we as a family.
Okay.
Yeah, I talk as myself as the family sort of thing. It's,
No, I just wondered.
yeah, no,
Because
it's
you're
mine.
the only one that's really been working there all these years.
Yeah. We originally, when we bought it, we were going to build up top and live up top, and
Yeah.
but we had to get things going. It took us about 7 months to get settled and get into that place, and I have to admit I probably did a lot of golfing then, but that's the way it was. And so, anyways, we got settled in, and have been going great guns ever since.
What changes have you noticed most about Fernie over the 50 years or more that you've lived here and had your business?
Price of real estate.
Yeah.
A lot. We seem to have a good population base, but it seems to be just steady. It doesn't seem to go up or down. It kind of stays steady. I've seen so many businesses come and go. I remember a time we had department stores, Marshall Wells, Fields, Stedman's, Robinson's,
And
sand stores. We had dry cleaners. We had a couple menswear stores, sporting goods shops, 2 or 3 of them. A chainsaw shop we had uptown, Voikin's Chainsaw Shop. So we see, I've seen a lot of, like I said, businesses come and go, whether they've made it or just retired. Yeah, a lot of changes on Main Street. Across from where I am now, on the corner, you may remember, was an empty lot, and then Barton's big old music store there, and now it's a chocolate shop, and we have neat little shops like that. The chocolate shops, cheese shops. We've got some nice artisans in Fernie, and
at one time there was a big empty space next to the bakery, and now it's the Fernie General Store.
Yeah, and a couple businesses in there that are specialty shops, and.
Yeah, actually, there's 4 businesses in there right now.
Yeah, little Katie has her bead and jewelry workings in there, and there's a shoe store, the general store. Yeah, and you hear that from people that come in to visit. They love walking around Fernie. The neat little shops, you hear it all the time. And these people are from Calgary and other places where I'm sure they have options to shop, but
it's so busy.
Yeah, and they just
so
enjoy
busy.
it. And even people from Cranbrook and Kimberley, they grab a coffee and they walk up and down the streets, and they really love it. I've talked to so many people over the years from those areas, and they really are impressed with what we've got going for us. And kudos to the business owners for making their businesses attractive, offering solutions and services to people, and again, then by the people supporting those businesses, that enables those businesses to support all the various youth groups and to give back to the community, and makes us all strong and proud to be here.
You said something really that I think is impactful, giving back to the community. Our businesses, which are small businesses except for our 2 large box and the fast food places, they donate to everybody that asks them.
Yeah, it's incredible. Myself, and not trying to say anything special, but I know over all the years in business, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and merchandise just that we've donated in our 50 years. Yeah. There was a time a few years back, my accountant would yell at me because I was doing more donating than one of the richest businesses in the valley, and but you can't say no. You see your customers in the post office or in the grocery store, so you support them and you watch their kids grow up and you're a part of that, and that's all gives us community pride. And
yeah, and I think it's I don't know if some of the younger people realize just how much our businesses donate.
Yeah, and I don't think they do. Some of them, that's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just the way it is. I know myself, and I know a lot of other people. We do the donating and stuff. We don't do that for recognition or advertising. We just do it because it's kind of the way it is, and it's our community responsibility, and we can see a benefit from it as we watch these kids grow up and get on the path of life, and then in turn they start supporting the businesses too.
But I think it depends on the person. I remember when I was applying for Fernie to win that craft hockeyville.
Right.
And I was introduced online because of what I put up to a young woman called Helen, and she decided she wanted to come to Fernie and help us campaign up and down, and she brought us all the signage and things that we needed, and we went up and down Main Street. Barb,
I remember talking
Barb
to you
King
too, yeah.
And Tracy, Barb Anderson and Tracy Audia, and Helen Ehrlicher and myself, and we stopped in your place.
Yes.
And I forget what you gave her, because I think you gave her something, because she never forgot it.
Oh.
And when I put up that you were closing, she sent the most beautiful message saying how wonderful you were and to please tell you.
Oh, I've seen some of those messages.
Yeah.
The people are so kind. I thank everybody. I don't do the social media myself, but such kind words over the years almost brings a tear to your eye. You know?
Many comments. When I put down that you were closing, immediately it got a response.
Oh yeah, it's kind of neat to hear those, and yeah, that makes business rewarding. It really does. If you go into business to become successful and support your family and all the rest of that, but little tiny perks and the little recognition and a hello and a thank you here and there.
What keeps a person coming back is the kindness and service they get from.
And sometimes the little things are so much more important than
the
big
things.
things.
Well, I mean, when I came in last week and I said I need this fixed, and I thought I had to leave it, and you said, no, I'll do it right now, and then you didn't even charge me.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all good. That's
But that's the kind of person you are.
Yeah, no, thank you, and but I learned traits like that from my father too, and you just do little things for people, for the people that support your business, and that's better than advertising. And yeah, I have.
So your parents are buried here, right?
They're buried in Fernie, yes, yeah.
Up in St. Margaret's, in the newer section, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Your parents were quite young when they
passed. Mom was, we lost Mom quite early on. She was 58. She had a long battle with cancer, and it just got her, and Dad was 77 when he passed away, and he, again, his was sort of lung cancer from the Navy ships. The ships had asbestos in them and stuff.
Yeah, asbestos is
a
killer.
It was a kind of like that asbestos lung cancer thing, and he fought it for a bit and did well, and before he went though, he told me he would do it again the same way. When he was in the cancer clinic in Kelowna, he told me, he says, Dale, that's the unbelievable facility. He said they looked after him so good, he had to tell him to leave him alone a little bit so he'd have some time to himself. He says there was 2 or 3 of them fussing over him every day, and how fortunate we were to have that facility and that medical facility in BC here. And so he was happy, and then he said he would do it again, and he was happy to represent his country, and he would go back to the Navy, and one of those old kind of proud guys, and
I remember your parents well.
They were involved with.
We're just going to take a little break.
Certainly.
So let's talk about the winter games that the senior winter games that Fernie hosted in 86, 87.
The town was a buzz. I remember all the businesses put up displays in their windows. involving Fernie, the ski hill, and winter sports. Myself, I got involved with another fellow in town, Bill Saylor, and him and I were the co-chairmans for the wheelchair basketball. Quite interesting situation arose when these athletes came to town. They'd come in, a day or two early, and to get accommodated and to get used to their surroundings. And so we had the wheelchair basketball teams all set up in their where they were staying, and a couple teams wanted to go down to the Max Turk Elementary School, and that's where they were practicing, and we did hold some of the events there, and some of the events in the Fernie Secondary School. Anyway, so we get to a couple of teams in, they want to do some practicing, and they want to have a scrimmage game, and we got them all set up, and we're watching how the things are going on, and these guys they got my attention, because they might be in wheelchairs, but boy, I'll tell you, they're competitive. And so anyways, the ball bounces down the hallway in the school. I run down and grab it, and I come back and I just pass it to one of the fellows, and he says, no, leave it alone, I'll get that, don't be getting the ball, we'll get it. And it kind of woke me up to exactly what was going on, how independent these people want to be, and good for them,
They are.
My goodness, nothing holds them back. And boy, I'll tell you, they bang their wheelchairs into each other, and they get their baskets, and it was a real competitive, but the fun they had, and I had to get talked into it. I didn't really want to volunteer for it for whatever reason, and Bill talked me into it, and I'm sure glad I did. I had many good memories from that. I still have all my brochures and pamphlets and pictures at home from it. And do you remember the opening ceremonies when we all went in the arena and the electricity in there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my Lord, it was unbelievable. I was just shivering. I remember commenting to Bill that it felt like we were on the world stage. And I think Fernie put on a good show. We did put on a heck of a show.
Yeah, it needs to be.
I remember a few years later, sorry to interrupt you, Mary, a few years later, another community similar to us were hosting, I don't remember the community, maybe it was Roseland or Trail area, but many times our sports chairmen were getting phoned and approached by this community. What did you guys do? What did you guys do? We always hear Fernie did this, Fernie did that.
Fernie really went out of
we did
their way.
Yeah.
Because think of the decorations that were in the arena.
Unbelievable.
And for all of the different events, there was amazing decorations that were done by the people, by Alice and the people that owned the crafts shop in the Clouds.
Barry and Alice Dudoff.
Yes.
Yes.
They
beautiful
did the
displays.
Most amazing displays of decorations.
Yeah.
We had amazing food.
Yeah.
Because we had I think we had over 2,000, maybe 2,500 volunteers. Because there was meals and there was lunches, we
had to shuttle them, we had all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was my group, the wheelchair basketball people, all told me that was the best accommodations they've ever had. Some of these people had been to 2 and 3 of these winter games, and many times we were told, this Fernie is really put on a show, and so kudos to everybody.
I remember a wine and cheese reception was done, I think it was in the arena, or maybe it was in the Park Place Lodge, but there was displays of cheeses with their little tags on what they were, and everything that went with each item, and it was displayed in a way that I think most Fernie people hadn't seen.
Yeah, it was done up so elegant.
It was done really spectacular.
Yeah.
And the people that worked on that, like the head people, just did an amazing job.
Yeah, I'm glad the athletes left here with a positive vibe. That kind of, maybe we didn't realize it so much back then, but I think we put ourselves on the map a little bit then, Mary.
You bet.
We brought attention to us anyways, and I know everybody left here feeling really good about it.
Well, I know last year when we hosted the regional conference from the East and West Kootenays and in between, they said we received notes for weeks afterwards saying that was the best conference that anybody had ever gone to. I had people say it was like going to a mini vacation, because usually it's work.
Yeah.
We had work, but we did it so lovely. We did everything so nice that they were really, really happy, and they said it was really the very best they'd ever been to. So it's great when Fernie has those kind of
you know,
accolades.
and going a little further on similar to what we're talking about, I'm going to involve the hockey team now.
Oh, yeah.
Involved with them for many years, and
That's right.
And these kids come from all over the place. We've had them from, Mary, we've had them from Chicago, from Texas, California, Alaska, all parts of Canada. They come from all over the place to play hockey here, and you just. They come here because they want to. We attract them. They want to come here. It's so somewhere something has happened where these kids just want to come to Fernie, you know, and it's, I guess the whole community can take their hats off and be proud about that. But
and that's the one thing, you know, you didn't mention just now that you've been involved with the Ghost Rider hockey team. I've seen you when I come to the games.
Yeah.
You've been involved as a volunteer for a long time.
Yeah, I haven't the last couple of years. I had my time at it, and had gone on to other things, but was involved for many years, and you know, watched it go from junior B to junior A, back to junior B, and cultivated a lot of friendships over the years with, and still once in a while you run into someone somewhere, and you don't maybe talk about the on-ice things so much as the shenanigans in the dressing rooms and the bus rides, and being you know, 15, 16, 17 years old and walking around town and being recognized by people. We had such a good hockey team this couple of years, and people would recognize you, and you felt really good about that, you know, being a young teenager, and so yeah, and we had some good teams too. We had good guys to coach us. Patsy Caravetta would coach us, and
Patsy.
oh yeah, Bobby Brown, Barry Anselmo, Freddie Churla. Oh, those guys were so good to us, and and then played with all the local Fernie boys. You know, and some of the guys have gone on to other things, and a lot of guys have moved away, and those are good years. I'm glad we grew up with that.
So you played and then you volunteered.
Yeah. You know, just liked the sport. Never did get very far in it, but sure enjoyed it, and thought, you know, I'd like to stay involved. And we have a hockey team here in Fernie. Some of the young kids look up to them, and I had a lot of fun all the time I was involved with it. I had a lot of fun. There's not much work involved. Volunteering, more things get done by other people. That it just seems to fall together, and basically all you do is you go to the games and watch games.
They've got a good club here.
Yeah, they do, and they have
lots of good volunteers.
Yes, they've got a good
volunteers that have
executive.
been there for years and
Yes.
years and years.
And that's very, and you know what, those people do it because they want to.
Yeah.
They really do. And like I said, it's not a lot of work. There's some time constraints. Some things have to be done by certain times, but at the end result, after a year of volunteering with that hockey team, I was so happy to do it, and I did it for a long time, and I was glad I did. And you probably cultivated some good friendships, did some business through it, and met people from all over the world. And you know what? When those kids go home, their parents are quick to tell us, or quick to tell the hockey club that, hey, thank you very much. You treated my kid like he's never been treated before. And we hear that all the time. I say we, still thinking
Right.
I'm involved with the team, but we heard that all the time. They said that Fernie was one of the classiest places that they've ever played, and that would include some junior A teams in Alberta, that we've had players come from there and play for us and say that, it's classy beyond belief.
Yeah, Fernie's got a pretty darn good reputation.
Yeah, really. Everything in general, you know, it's a beautiful area. The kids can go out and play. You know,
Yeah, it's relatively.
we know each other. We help
yeah.
each other out. You fall down, someone will pick you up. Yeah, no, it's. couldn't think of a another better place to raise your family. We have a couple from Calgary that are part-time residents in Fernie, live beside us, and they have a couple of young kids, and it took them a while to get used to the fact that they could let their kids go play, and the kids will come home when they're hungry. There's no problem. Whereas in Calgary, they just can't do that.
No,
They got to stare out the window and watch their kids play. You know.
You
but,
bet.
So they just love it, and we get to see them occasionally. They're probably spend maybe 40 or 50 days a year here, but good neighbors, and they just enjoy coming to Fernie and breathing the fresh air. And 3 hours they're here, sort of thing. And, yeah, we have them over for a glass of wine once in a while, and we hear the city side of things, and they get to hear our side of things. And,
Yeah, there's a lot of Calgarian people that appreciate Fernie.
Oh yeah, they come here. They just love it. They it's nothing for them to drive an hour to work and an hour back from work. So put an extra hour on that, and they're in their vacation property, and they come here and they breathe the air, and just like the surroundings.
Have you ever wanted to move?
Yeah, years ago I wanted to get out, and I thought about moving into. I was looking at the Okanagan, but just as much as I want to move, I like to stay. And further on that, going back to when we were in school, we couldn't wait to graduate and get out of Fernie, but you know what? We all came back. We all came back, and we talked about that at a reunion a few years back, how, we just wanted to get out of Fernie when we graduated, and geez, within a few short years, everybody was back to Fernie working here, and that's what happened. It really did. It's hard to get rid of your home, It really is. For our family, with Gary being with his special needs, gee whiz, I'm sure glad we were in a smaller community.
Yeah, it would be a lot harder than, say, you were living in Calgary.
Many years ago, Mary, when he first started to walk, we had a dog in Suds. Do you remember the dog in Suds? Saint Saran.
That was your family that had dog in Suds?
No. The dog in Suds, I'm going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
Saint Saran and his family lived across the street from us. Gary was almost 4 before he started to walk with his heart stuff. So he was about 5 years old. He walked downtown. He wanted to go see his dad. Saint and his family saw him. They knew that wasn't right because they live across the street from us. So they called him and got Gary into the car. They took him to the Dog and Sons, bought him an ice cream cone, and brought him home. If it was in Calgary or someplace, that never would have happened.
Oh no, that's right.
That's the beauty of the small town.
Yeah.
And so Gary and Saint have been such good friends ever since. But and for our family, that's so important that we, he can get on his bike and go for a ride, and if something happens, someone will look after him.
And he's
we all get to know each other.
too.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of. We might lack some medical amenities or maybe some shopping things, but gee whiz, as far as quality of life. People come from the city to come here
that is
a
really good point that you made.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Fernie
and that's
provides.
what we've worked for too.
Yeah.
We all have worked for hard for that, and it's not about money. It's all the time. It's quality of life, and I think we appreciate our surroundings because 5 minutes from our home we're biking, hiking, fly fishing.
Oh yeah.
It's just. It's the lifestyle. Lifestyle is, how do you put a price on a comfortable lifestyle, really,
No, and the more time passes and I see what's going on in the world, the more I appreciate Fernie and what it offers.
Yeah. The stuff you read about that goes on in places, we're so fortunate that we read about that and those places are not in ours.
Yeah. We live in a really great place.
Oh yeah. Most people have not a want for anything, and you drive around town, you see 2 and 3 vehicles in every driveway, and the paycheck that leaves this valley every 2 weeks is second to none in Canada.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
Oh yeah, it's
Would you want to see Fernie grow bigger?
not much bigger. Maybe let's get to a size where we can support a full-time bowling alley and a dry cleaners and a couple other little businesses or whatever. But I think everybody's pretty comfortable where we're at now. If we need a city, we got Calgary three hours away. We want to go for a little holiday. The States are, less than an hour away.
Yeah, location is fabulous.
Yeah, we have an airport in Cranbrook if we want to fly somewhere, and I guess being stuck in the southeastern corner of the part of the province isn't such a bad thing, Mary.
Yeah, it isn't. I'd rather. Yeah. Well, Dale, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that you might?
Like I said, I'm going to leave here and I'll go, my mind will just go like crazy. I'll be phoning you. Oh, Mary, we should
have said this.
Yeah, no,
But mostly, it's a conversation on how Fernie was,
Yeah.
what your life was like back then.
Things have prospered. And, I don't really have. I'm good. I hope I hope it comes out clear. I'm not just a marble mouth and
Not at all.
No, that's. I'm quite enjoying this.
Well, as much as we're sorry that, the business won't be there, perhaps somebody else will pick up once it's gone. We certainly want to thank you that we've had it for 50 years.
It's been a good time. It really has. There's, to be honest, there was a couple times, or a couple years there when I first took it over, no bullshit. We're not on the air. Are we on the air? Oh, pardon me. There's a couple of years there. The first couple of years I took it over was really tough. I was scratching. I needed the business, and but that's how you build your character. You overcome a little adversity, and you strive to get better. And
nothing that comes too easy is appreciated or valued as what you have to work for.
Yeah, you're given something, you appreciate it and you thank the person for it, but you go out and earn it, and you really know how it's, that's for sure. And there was, early on, as I said, there were some trying times the first couple of years, and but no, it's afforded us a really good living. I'm very comfortable, and Fernie is, like I said, it's been good to our family and me over the years, and if I was young, I don't think I'd change a thing. I'd do it all the same again, and
you're still young, dude.
Oh, geez, thank you. You're too kind. I feel old some days, I'll tell you.
Well, don't we all?
Yeah, one day the shoulder, then the hip, then the knee, but that's all part of aging gracefully. I have to take my hat off and thank everybody in Fernie. Afforded us a good lifestyle, and we were happy to be a part of it. And,
Well, it's been great for Fernie to have you, and I really want to thank you, Dale.
Oh, thank you so much.
And talking about it, congratulations on.
Thank you. We're gonna have a little holiday, and when we come back, we'll put a little letter in the paper or do something on the Facebook, and we'll let people know exactly what's going on. I would like to have my bench and continue to do my bench work somewhere, maybe part-time out of my house or whatever. We have some options, but we'll have a little holiday first, and then we'll decide.
Yeah, and if people know that you are available to do this other stuff, to repair things or, or build something for somebody, that will keep you busy enough while still giving you all the freedom you need.
That's exactly, that's kind of what I would like to have. I want to do a little bit, but not a whole lot, and to have that freedom, and
and so that's what I want to wish for you, that you get exactly what you want.
Thank you very much. I sure appreciate that, and thank you for your efforts of Fernie, involving in Fernie, yourself in Fernie for all these years, and the job that you did, and
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, people are so quick to jump on negative things and not positive things, and what you did in your tenure in Fernie was nothing but positive, and I thank you for that.
Well, I did it for Fernie because I love the town.
Yeah, I know, it's
I
in your
love
heart.
Fernie.
Yeah, and
I mean, certainly I could have moved too, because out of my 5, there's only 1 here.
yeah,
But Fernie, this is my home.
it's kind of an adhesive.
My parents are buried in the cemetery,
yeah,
and this is my home.
yeah.
And as long as I can keep doing for it, I will.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
It's we need more people like you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And thank
And
you.
thank you again. It's been really great, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, and I just would like to thank everybody in Fernie after all these years, and it's been wonderful.